Justin, thanks so much for being with us here today. I am really curious about a newish product that we have released at CIQ. It's called Ledger Pro. So can you tell us a little bit about it and what the value of it is for our customers?
Yeah, Ledger Pro was built to be kind of this add-on thing to our flagship product Ascender. Ascender's great, it's fantastic, but it does have some limitations. One of the biggest ones is reporting kind of insights into what's going on inside of automation. So you're doing a lot of great things inside of Ascender. You're building up, let's say, infrastructure, or you're doing all sorts of cool automations on top of that, installing applications. But really, Ascender only kind of gets you that view inside of what it's doing, the automation it's running. Ledger kind of takes it a couple steps deeper in that you get the insights onto exactly what's being done on the system. So it's got a very deep understanding of the automation and the tasks that are being run on the systems. It logs those back into a centralized database, so we then can report on it. And then we can look at each individual system, see the changes that are happening over time, and then we can really kind of start making very, very good reports at a high level to give you much more holistic and viewpoint of all of your systems inside your infrastructure, as well as all of your networking, your Windows machines, kind of everything. We can get insights and look into that. So very, very powerful tool insofar as it really kind of gives you that the insights into that automation that you really haven't had before.
That's interesting. This might be a little bit of a side note, but I'm curious as to that data, where does it get housed and stored? And when you're saying we, you're talking about the customer. Right. So then where does it live and how much space are you going to need to run Ledger Pro in your environment?
Yeah, I mean, the good part is it's data, it just lives in the database. So really, we kind of gauge it over time. We have a default setting that just uses a certain amount of data or a certain amount of space for that database, but you can expand that and grow it as you need it. Or we can also put in retention cycles to allow you to say, hey, look, over 6 months, we don't need that data from 6 months ago. We really only want this window of time that we want to kind of get the insights into what we're doing. So really, you can kind of tailor that to your specific business needs.
It's so cool. It's like you can do anything that you want to do. You have to set the parameters.
Yeah.
And so how easy is it with Ledger to set the parameters that you want to and customize it in the way that you want to? Is that something that the average customer would need CIQ help for? Like, do we do that? Are we going to help implement and set it up in their environment?
Yeah, so as far as the initial setup, usually we try to make the customer as successful as possible. So we want to, if you buy Ascender and Ledger from us, we're going to come and help you make sure that's installed correctly, really get you set up so that you are able to use it out of the box. From there, yeah, you can absolutely tailor kind of the size of what you want to capture and the amount of data and really what you're capturing to really tailor it to exactly what you need.
It sounds so simple, and yet there's several customers that I have talked to that as they were hearing what it is that Ledger Pro can do for them and their environment, they immediately went to the reports of their infrastructure and their system, their entire environment that are needed for security, basically, and their audits, that it just does it like that.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, there's several of us who came from an audit background where we were doing government audits, and so a lot of what's in there is based on that experience of us being system administrators and realizing like every time we go and do an audit, everybody needs to see very, very vast amount of data and very specific things as well. And so when you know what you're being audited or when you know what's important to your auditor or really what's important to your business, maybe your security people, you can then kind of tailor that to exactly what they want to see. So you're giving them really customized insights into what you're doing as an infrastructure, really breaking down a lot of the walls in the silo. The typical silos that really normally don't talk to each other, now you kind of almost are having a handshake saying, look, what do you need? I'll get you all the information you want. That helps me, saves me a lot of time showing you and proving to you that we're keeping audited. Now you got reports showing that we're audited, or that they were compliant, with the audits that we're bound to.
That's really exciting. So you had mentioned Ascender, and I think there's maybe a little bit of an assumption, at least on my part, that people are understanding what Ascender is. So maybe do you want to give just a little bit of a description of what Ascender is, or maybe can I actually share with you what I think it is, and you can correct me? So my understanding of Ascender is that it really starts with a basic understanding of Ansible playbooks, and that Ansible playbooks are short little directions on what you want your system to do, what you want it to automate, and it can do a multitude of things. And so as time goes by and people are automating more and more of the, those remedial sorts of tasks and things that they want to have happen or happen in the middle of the night when maybe they don't want to be awake for it. So as people are expanding their Ansible footprint in their own environment, they are wanting more and more to have one centralized place to kind of aggregate all of that information, right? Like one platform where they have all of their Ansible automation playbooks running around where they can manage it in one place. And so Ascender is a platform where you manage your Ansible playbooks. Is that accurate?
Nailed it. Yeah, I mean, I would add to that and say that Ascender allows people to collaborate on automation. You can run all sorts of Ansible playbooks from any laptop in your environment or any computer. The danger is if you've got multiple people doing work, all of a sudden you can start clobbering some of the work that they're doing. You can break systems. You can cause a lot of automation. I think we used to say that can enable you to do a lot of damage. So what we're trying to do with Ascender, which is downstream from an open source product called AWX, is essentially centralize all of that work so that everybody has the correct roles and access to be able to do the work they need to do. It also is a centralized place to collaborate. Maybe network teams manage their network stuff in one space. We've got infrastructure teams and Windows teams and all these people who normally don't collaborate. They just kind of do their own thing. Maybe you open up a ticket and then we'll get some work done. Well, now we can start having these teams share these playbooks between each other and to say, look, here's a safe way to, let's say, open up a firewall port. So infrastructure team, you need to set up a new web server? Cool, here's this playbook that literally, when you run it, it will open up that port 80, and then we'll pass that data into that server. That now we've just taken away a whole bunch of time or given back a bunch of time because now those people don't actually have to be there to do that work. It's being automated.
Right.
So.
And then you can access all of that data and what happened, where, when, how, on what system, who did it, at what time. You can take all of that data and information and have, either one person, so like person comes in and has to have some human eyes on it, which is always probably a good idea. And so is that where Ledger Pro comes in? Is it then that's what takes all of that data and information and puts it in a way that is readable?
Yeah, that's all we're really doing is there's modules inside of Ansible that are called gather facts, and you can gather facts about all sorts of different things. I think we gather about 1,500, 1,500 points of data, facts about all of the things that it's interacting with. We do that for every node that we are managing. So we just grab as much information we can, throw that in a database. And the cool part about that is we start doing that over time, you can start seeing trends in what's being done in your systems. We can then even go further and start saying, let's take proactive or maybe even reactive measures to fix problems as we detect it inside of our infrastructure. So a lot of amazing stuff we can do when we start combining these tools together.
That's incredible. It's totally cool, man. First of all, thank you for being a part of the team that is building this out for us and supporting it. Thank you to our customers who are interested and want to chat with us. Thank you to the rest of the team that is working on this. Thank you for the upstream contributors that are doing all of their work. So it's really exciting. So if you want to talk to us more about CIQ and what we were doing here with automation and Ascender and Ledger Pro, then definitely give us a call.
Reach out.